Committee next week. Congressman Steve Scalise is on the Energy and Commerce Committee. He's a Republican from Louisiana. He's also chair of the Republican Study Committee group. Study group, what is it?
Republican Study Committee.
Study Committee, that's what I thought. And it's a conservative committee. So you're not going to have Obama administration officials at this hearing on Thursday. So who's going to be there?
Well, supposedly we're going to be talking to some of the people who actually developed this website. And obviously we've got a lot of serious questions, a lot of questions that they have still yet to answer. We're talking about a website that the administration had over 3 years to develop this, and they spent over $500 million. This is more than Facebook cost to build, and over 1 billion people use Facebook, and it works. So we're not talking about some kind of low bid, small cost contract.
Are you trying to get to the bottom of how to fix it? Is that the goal here, or is this more we want to bring people to account for what has not been a successful rollout?
Well, I think accountability is at the forefront.
I'm not criticizing accountability, but I mean, there are a lot of people who want to. I mean, you would admit there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans who want to sign up. They want the problem solved.
Oh, they want the problem solved, and they also want to know, how could you roll out a product like this without even testing it? Clearly, I used to develop software for a living before I came to Congress. We would pull all-nighters to make sure the day of the rollout, the product actually worked. And clearly they didn't do that. I tried getting on the site, and I spent over 2 hours. I got kicked out 4 times. I got a bunch of blank screens, a whole lot of please wait boxes, something you don't get in the private sector. The president likes talking about Apple and Kayak and other websites that actually do work. This is a system that, you go buy an iPad, even if it had a glitch, it still works. This is not a glitch. This is a national embarrassment.
So the president of Health Policy and Strategy Associates, who's been critical of the rollout, he told the Washington Post, quote, "I think the administration trusted their subcontractors. There's an astronaut joke that an astronaut is a guy sitting on top of a rocket assembled by the lowest bidders. Obamacare is a bit like the astronaut on top of the rocket." I think he's paraphrasing Armageddon there, but it's not like the government can afford to have Mark Zuckerberg design this site, right? I mean, they have to, because they are the stewards of taxpayer dollars, go after the cheapest.
Well, no, they would have saved money if they had Mark Zuckerberg.
Right. No, but I'm saying they can't afford Mark Zuckerberg is my point.
They spent more than Mark Zuckerberg spent in the first 5 years of Facebook's lifespan.
But you take my point that they have to get cheapest bids.
Clearly, they did not do the cheapest bid on this contract. It was a Canadian company. They spent over $500 million of taxpayer money. Spotify cost maybe 10% of that. You look at Twitter. You look at other software products that people go online and whether they're exchanging information or purchasing products, those websites cost a whole lot less money to develop, and those websites work, and they handle more traffic.
So you're head of the Republican Study Committee. You unveiled your own health care bill, the committee, and you have introduced legislation to repeal and to
replace the bill.
Replace the bill. I guess my question is, why should Americans watching these hearings on Thursday think that this is going to be a legitimate attempt by Congress to find out what went wrong and fix it, as opposed to another attempt to talk about how horrible the law is itself, a law that passed the House, passed the Senate, was signed by the president, and found constitutional by the Supreme Court?
Well, people don't like the law in general, and a lot of people that are going on these websites, they're expecting to find out information. They're being asked a lot of very personal information that have nothing to do with their health care.
Like what?
Well, they're being asked what is their race, ethnicity, is their wife pregnant, for example? That was a question I was asked. Again,
isn't that relevant if you're getting insurance?
Well, the president said that you're not going to be rated based on your health.
Well, if you're 75 years old, you probably don't need a plan that offers prenatal care. I mean, I'm just guessing.
But the bottom line is, Jake, this website clearly doesn't work. The president admits it doesn't work, and yet people, American families right now, are being told under the law that if they don't go onto this website that doesn't work and buy a product that they can't afford and give their personal information to the IRS, who can't be trusted with it, they'll be fined by the federal government. If the website's not working, one thing I think is a basic request that a lot of American families have is, if I can't even go online and buy this product that the law says I have to buy, shouldn't the president at least waive the fine for the individual mandate like he waived it for businesses?
It's a fair question. I asked the White House that yesterday, and their response was that there are still other ways to get Obamacare. There's the phone number. You can fax it in. There are other ways.
Well, but the 800 number, if you can get through, it's busy now because the website doesn't work. They actually refer you back to the website that doesn't work.
Well, there are people who have been able to get, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going well, but there are people who have been able to get insurance through the website. I mean,
there have been very small numbers. If you look at some states, they've spent over $100,000 per person that successfully signed up. Again, not a good bang for your buck. And you compare that to the private sector that the president's comparing it to. You know, the president's the one out there saying this is like Apple or Kayak or some other website. They spent a whole lot less money to build websites that do work, where people, millions of people every day, are able to go and actually buy products.
All right, Congressman Steve Scalise, Republican of Louisiana, chair of the Republican Study Committee. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it.